Good morning, everybody. It's Jim, it's Sean, it's Amedeus as our international panel of experts. Amedeus in Canada and Sean, who's about, 2 days away from becoming a full-time resident of Manchester. I mean, you've
Pretty
settled
close.
They definitely need to give
I'll
you.
be out Saturday. I'll be on the train back to London. So,
Well, you're our temporary liaison to the Premier League and to what is going on in Manchester.
Well, I know the Liverpool fans are not real happy with me after last night when we were in the Tip Street Tavern last night with a bunch of Liverpool fans and then some Manchester United fans that were happy to see that demise. Fantastic. I was loving it, man. I was hating it for about 10 minutes.
And then love. Then love went in.
Man. That was embarrassing. Oh my God. And then people wonder why we've been saying Liverpool's a bad team all year.
So it's crazy. If you watched, first of all, they overwatered the pitch. Like that 100%. We're watching before the match. Soaking the pitch because they wanted to stop Real Madrid.
It's the Anfield effect.
100%, right? Because you could watch the first 10 minutes, everybody's sliding all over the place. Like it's a slip. Like what the hell's going on? Like it was actually happening the other day in the Manchester United game. And I'm like, what is going on with this? And then there's a couple slips that led to the goal. The first two goals. I mean, I know Camavinga slipped, and then there was a couple the defensive slip there on the first Vinicius goal, but I mean it was just
stumbled on his absolute.
Yeah, I mean, what are you doing? Just clear the ball, but within 20 minutes there was two goalkeeper errors that led directly to goals. There was two wonder goals, and we're watching this game like this is crazy. And then people were like, we'll take. I'm like, there's gonna be 5 more goals in this game. What are you talking about? At halftime, like, people were like, I don't know, I can't get back. I'm like, listen, man, there's gonna be more goals. Real Madrid's carving them up. It could have been 7-2.
Yeah. Benzema and Vinicius, they picked up right where they left off.
And the craziest thing too is, I mean, look, I think they were talking about Jamie Carragher was talking about it, but we were talking about it at the pub. Like Liverpool beat Newcastle 2-0 the other day, and if Nick Pope doesn't get sent off, Newcastle probably gets something from the game because they were dominant, a man down, and really were unlucky not to score. If he stays in the game, I'm 100% sure that they probably get something from that game.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier in the week is Newcastle looked like the better team after they got the red card because Liverpool thought they could just sit back on defense. But they don't have that kind of defense this year. And, people keep wondering, you want to call this team out of form. People keep wondering why me and you are bashing them all the time. Just look at them. And finally, I heard it on CBS yesterday. One of the guys was like, we've been making excuses for this team all year. Maybe we need to stop making excuses. Yeah, stop making excuses. There's no excuses to be made. They're a bad team. They're just there's no flow. Yeah, they're old. There's defensive issues. It's just
they didn't look organized.
And they had a 2-0 lead too.
Yeah.
Look, they just spent 150 million pounds on Darwin Nunez and Cody Gakpo in positions that they already had players, and they don't have a midfield, and they don't have a solid. Van Dijk isn't the same player, but they have no midfield. Like they have no midfield. I mean, it's gonna take so they're done. I read a story this morning about how Klopp, when Klopp left, Klopp left Mainz. I mean, Mainz got relegated and they were down for a while. When Klopp left but Borussia Dortmund. I mean, Borussia Dortmund won the 2 titles, but he left those players too long, and then all of a sudden they were a disaster. I mean, it took forever to rebuild. I mean, they're in a bad shape. I think. I don't know. This is going to be. I don't know. They could be out in the wilderness for a little bit. At least with Chelsea, there's some talent and there's young talent, and they're just all over the place. Like you figure at some point, but.
So you think this is a Klopp problem then? He builds a team when he gets to a new place, and then he finds success with that team for a few years, but then he doesn't replace the team. He still views them as the same team as when he came in, the same talent when they're not. And then is that how you lead to the downfall with Klopp?
I think
is
so.
That what it's looking like?
The craziest thing, I mean, they let their best player go. I mean, look, someone's going to, once again, people are going to say Salah. No, Mane was their best player. Mane was the guy. He was
who's more important, the playmaker or the goal scorer?
You could find guys that could score goals if you're making chances. He was the issue, him gone. But look, their midfield stinks. I mean, Henderson's old and slow, and James Milner they're bringing in, and I don't even know who played. Looking at their midfield last night, I forget who even started for him. I mean, and look, their issue is, Fabinho stinks. That kid Beige today because he's a defender. They put him in midfield. I mean, he's not even a midfielder. He's a center back. They signed him as a center back. Robinson's getting found out. Trent is Trent. Gomez stinks. Virgil van Dijk's getting old. And this Real Madrid didn't have they didn't have they had Camavinga. They didn't have Tchouaméni. They didn't have Cruz. Think about put Cruz and Tchouaméni in this lineup and then you can move Valverde up to the wing. Rodrigo is pretty good as well, but look, this team is, I mean, the leg in Madrid could be 7-0.
Rodrigo's not even a starter when the team is fully healthy. That's how much talent they have.
They said, they're like, no, it's happened before. They've come back against Barcelona. That was at Anfield. That was 4 years ago. This team was younger. They're not coming back against Real Madrid. Real Madrid, there's no chance Real Madrid doesn't post. I mean, Liverpool might score 4 goals, but if they score 4 goals, they're going to be so open that Real Madrid might score 15. So it's not happening. Like Madrid's through. It's they're out. And now it's going to be up to City, who doesn't have De Bruyne today and doesn't have some of the other players that know Laporte.
So last week I talked about how I thought those ties were nowhere near over. Like Bayern's going home with the 1-0 win. PSG has a very good chance to win that one. And I was saying the same thing about Chelsea Dortmund. Dortmund's got the 1-0 lead, but Chelsea goes back home and they looked really good in that game. I think they destroy them. This week, we got a complete opposite thing. Real Madrid, Napoli, those ties are over. They're already through. There's absolutely no way the other teams come back.
Napoli should have won that game 6-0 yesterday. I mean, honestly,
I think they might be the best team in Europe. I think it's time to crown them. They might just be the best team in Europe.
Yep, I agree. You put them down at 11 plus 1100. I don't even know what they are now. I see if you can even get those futures right now.
I mean, the red card helped, but they were going to be could have been like 4-0 before that red card.
Yeah, they
missed a penalty too.
Yeah, it should have been 3-0 at halftime. Napoli right now is at plus 700, and that's with PSG at plus 2,000. So they'll be going into the quarterfinals. They'll be probably the third or fourth. They'll be the fourth choice behind City, Bayern, PSG winner, and Real Madrid. So they'll be fourth choice. But depending on their draw. If they get a decent draw, Benfica maybe in the quarterfinals, they could make a decent run here, and you can get them.
See what Inter Milan does today too.
Yeah, that's interesting game. So, we shall see.
I'm looking, guys. There was a deal on the cup carousel and how that might be restructured for the next time around. And I know I have it. Just the crackers department here is looking for it. So talk among yourselves. I'll be ready.
Oh, which one? The Carabao Cup, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look, it's when they change these to the different Champions League format with the more teams, I think there's going to be less games. The French got rid of the League Cup. I mean, these other leagues got rid of these League Cups. So
Italy only has one cup, I think. I haven't seen like 2 cup competitions in a while.
Yeah, no, it's the League Cup. I mean, to be honest, it's a little bit, of a waste of time. I mean, look, hopefully Manchester United wins the trophy because blah 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 and all that stuff. But it's not the most important trophy on the list, of course. Bill, great day yesterday, guys. We even spotted them 2 goals. You like the favorites today? I like Inter and I like City. Yes, I think City wins. No De Bruyne, a little bit concerning to me. I think they, they kind of win pretty easily, 2-0. I would compare that to Napoli a little bit, to be honest, like same kind of game thing. And then Inter, look, I mean, the Inter and the under, I think we were talking about it the other day. I think this is kind of going to be 1-0 somewhere. Inter doesn't get a lot of goals. Porto doesn't get a lot of goals, but Inter's got some pretty good players back. So, yeah, I would take the under there and Inter. But I would take the 2 favorites. I don't know if you like those games at all.
Yeah, with the Man City one, De Bruyne is out, but I think they have enough depth where they'll be fine without him. And they've been starting to ramp up their play lately. They're starting to look like the city of the city of old days, like the last few years.
They don't lose in the round of 16 now. Quarter semifinals. They'll be around after this. I can't. Leipzig is.
And I feel like it's one of those games where, City sees what Real Madrid did yesterday, and it's almost like a pissing contest. They feel like, we need to match that. We need to go make a statement as well. If they can go on the road and beat one of our Premier League teams 5-2, we should be able to go on the road and beat a German team and destroy them, right? So I think that factors in a little bit.
It always factors into a little bit. Those are key things that have to be done. The points have to be there. But by the way, I just in my attempt to find what I was looking for, I ended up finding that Liverpool is not for sale according to Fenway Sport.
Yeah, they backed out stunningly. That they found out no one was gonna give.
After yesterday, they may put it back on the market.
Well, look, I mean, I think they see the fact that this Super League is coming, and also that they weren't going to get anywhere near what they wanted for it. It's still in Liverpool. The stadium's it's better than it was, but the area is not great. It's it's an aging squad. They're going to have to put a lot of money into it, and then when you compare it to the marketing monster that is Manchester United, it's just tough. So I think, maybe stuff changes.
What would you want to see changed for Manchester United? If you were advising the new owners, what would you go in there and tell
them? I mean, they got to do, put football people in charge. They got to do a better job recruitment. I think they need to upgrade the facilities. It'd be nice to be able to get Wi-Fi at a Manchester United match, or a signal at all.
Do you have to go to? Do you have to go over to Starbucks, or how does that work?
No, I mean, yeah, it's just, I mean, you go to these other grounds and you have no issue. Like you go to to the new camp and you have no issue. You go to these places, they have the Wi-Fi. Like this, it's just crap. Like they haven't upgraded the ground. The ground needs to be updated. A lot of people will say the ground needs to be redone, or just rebuilt next door, or whatever. I don't need to get into all that. Like one or the other is fine, but they need to upgrade the training facilities. They need to upgrade the women's program. They need to get better football people. They're doing that. They need people ahead on the top that are actually going to be involved. I can't, you can't fault the Glazers for not spending money. They've spent money like crazy. It just, they haven't spent it on the right people. But I mean, they haven't, it's not like they've never given them any money. They just didn't have like the right people telling them who to buy. But, other than that, like, it sounds like Qatar's going to put a lot of money into the city. Between the two bids, it's got, if I was the government here, I would have to, I'm sure they're pushing them towards Qatar because, they're not going to take any profit out of it. And they're going to put all the money back into the city and into programs and into this stuff. So, whereas Ineos might not do that, and they might, keep the debt, and which is an issue. So I think that's the one thing that they have to do. I'm sure these people are going to do it. So,
Sean, when you're talking about the ownership from Qatar, does that mean that the plans are to renovate or refurbish the neighborhood with right around the building as well as Old Trafford?
I mean, there's not like, it's just out in the middle and kind of nowhere. I mean, there's some actual like houses next to it, but I don't know. I mean, there's big parking lots there. It's not like the city ground was, where it was just kind of like cities refurbished that whole thing there. They're putting a huge arena up, the biggest arena in Europe. So, I mean, maybe, it's the whole city's spreading out towards Old Trafford anyway. So yeah, I mean, it could be something like that, but I just think they need to upgrade the facilities, the actual, the stadium, and the training grounds and stuff like that.
In Europe, is that something that, for instance, here, if somebody wants, I'm talking about sports franchise now, if somebody wants a stadium renovation or all that stuff, they go to the city. What happens in the UK if Old Trafford needs to be refurbished? Is that something that the city goes, well, the owner should do it, we're not doing it, or how does that work?
Well, it's interesting because Manchester City's ground is actual built by the city for the Commonwealth. So it's the council house. The council built it, so and then they handed it to Manchester City. So nice to be able to have all this infrastructure in place before you even show up. But so no, I think they're gonna, it would be through there, but they're gonna build the whole city up. I think they're gonna spend, they're not taking any profit. Apparently, they're gonna just plow it back into the city. So
I'm with you. That would not take a long. It wouldn't take in that situation.
I would think the government is going to probably be pushing them to accept that bid. I mean, that would be my guess, but I keep hearing it's right. Yeah, it's going to be Qatar, but we'll see.
So what's on the docket today, boys, that folks should be paying attention to?
We got the two Champions League games. I think that's the two. The I don't even know if there's other games today. I'm sure there is, but
yeah, not much else. Definitely no Cluj or anything like that. But
it's some championship games. I mean, other than that, it's not anything. I mean, there's some Copa Libertadores qualification, I guess, that already stuff like that. But there's some championship games. I was looking at yesterday.
They had the Recopa last night, and Flamengo lost 1-0.
Oh wow! They're actually, there's really nothing. There's a couple of qualifiers, Nacional and Medellin and Boston River Hurricane, but there's the EFL Trophy. But I mean, really, there's just the two games, Inter and FC, and Leipzig and Manchester City. Tomorrow there's 16 matches.
Whoa, tomorrow.
Plus, the qualification for Copa Libertadores, plus the Asian Playoff Champions League qualification. So, there's a few more Copa de Brazil, stuff like that. So, and then obviously Friday there's the Champions League or the Premier League, Fulham and Wolves, La Liga, Elche and Real Betis, decent game. Mainz, Mönchengladbach, Lille, and Brest in League One, Eredivisie. So you got those, Famalicão and Portimonense. So Friday's actually a decent night. Will be my last night here in Manchester probably for a little while. So maybe go out and watch that Fulham and Wolves match. But yeah, Friday's a decent day. Thursday is obviously all about the Europa League playoffs and the Conference League playoffs. So that'll be pretty interesting.
The when the town gets together to follow up and watch their favorite team, the Manchester United team, is this when the fans go to the stadium? Is it like a walk up, or is it you park your car and you go in? I mean, I've seen all this romanticism, right? These guys and women with the scarves and just marching as if they're going to take over the building.
It's mostly.
Cool. I mean, it's really cool to watch.
There's most of the people park away from the stadium, so you walk up. It's you walk down Matt Busby Way, and then you come up the other way. Now there's the tram stops on both sides. So what do you think about this player performance double? Haaland to have 2 shots on goal and City to win plus 200. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. Just make sure he starts. I'm sure he will. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good bet. Bill, I think, Haaland's probably going to have a goal at least here today. You see the big time players here, Rashford, Thursday, Haaland, yesterday, Vinny and Benzema both had 2. I think Haaland's is a pretty good bet to score in this.
Even Salah had his little poach goal from Courtois. So.
That Nunez goal was great. So, I think Bill, that's a pretty good play. That you kind of walk up. You have the tram on both sides now, so you can kind of walk up and you got that hotel football there, and everybody just kind of walks around and walks down the way there, and it'll be the same on Sunday walking up Wembley Way. You get off at the tube and you kind of walk up, so that'll be interesting. But it's a lot of, I think they're pushing people towards using the transit. After the match, it's not the greatest. Tried to jump on, but by the time, I usually just hang out for a little while. If you hang out for an hour and jump, go talk to some people, and then you jump on the transit, it's fine. You're right back into town. It doesn't take very long. So
now, I know that you and I have lived in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia, Washington corridor here, and mass transit is pretty much the way to go. It's interesting because if you go to a Nationals game, or for that matter, a DC United game, you get off at the Navy Yard stop, and you walk a few blocks, and on one side of the street is the National Stadium, on the other side is the one for DC United. So there's a lot of walk up there because there's no place to park, and B, it's just easier to get in and out.
Yeah, I think. Look, probably 10 years from now, they're not even going to be cars. You're going to be trying to, everybody's going to be
the Jetsons.
Yeah, public transportation and stuff, which is, the trams here in Manchester are fantastic. I know I kind of take the piss sometimes by posting the tram selfies and stuff, but they're really good. It's easy to get to anywhere. It takes you to basically anywhere you want to go. London's the same. I walked out of my hotel and I was at I was at a tube stop, and you just go wherever you want. In Barcelona, the same way. You walk across the street, and the transit's taking you, and metro's taking you anywhere. So, I'm a huge. I love my car, but if we had, if I had a tram stop or a monorail, 2 blocks from my house that went all over Richborough, I would jump on that in a second. I wouldn't be. probably using my car as much. So, I mean, it's definitely, something that, they're pushing here as
Uh-huh.
part of, don't want to get involved in the conspiracy theory with Agenda 2030 and all this stuff. But yeah, it's, stuff like that. So, but yeah, no, it's, it's easy to get here. It's a great place. So,
Yeah, but I mean, is it Old Trafford to me is kind of like Fenway or Wrigley. I mean, it's sacred ground, so to speak.
I think so. I mean, there's going to be some pushback if these people, but at the same time, like once again, I think people are like kind of mad that you can't get a Wi-Fi signal and the kind of that there's a hole in the roof and all this stuff. So like, if they put it right next door and they kept the building, to have, maybe they don't have like 80,000 seats for but they keep the lower level and play, youth games there and, the women's games there, whatever, right next to the new stadium. And, obviously you could play some games there as well for the youth and the women. But, and you have a brand new 80,000 seat stadium that is state of the art, which look, Qatar could probably ship over one of the World Cup stadiums, to be honest. I mean, they were doing that anyway. I mean, you saw what they did for the World Cup. I mean, in these stadiums, I mean, they could probably build an exact replica of the stadium, except, nice. So, you don't have to worry about the train behind it. There's a train that runs behind the one side, so they can't really build up the one stand because you have to get all this permission and stuff like this. So, like, if you moved it out here and you did it on the in the parking lot, it's not an issue. So, I'm not against modernization and stuff like that. I'm a proponent of it. But once again, like, I don't think anybody really cares. They just want Manchester United to win trophies, and they want like owners that, once again, like, just involved in the team and, at the matches sometimes. And, it's been a while since they've been at a match because of all the issues, with the protests and everything. So, like, you understand why they want to come, but
Right.
you see like the PSG owner is always there. Some of the other owners are always at the matches. So the Nottingham Forest guy, like, it just seems like fans connect easier.
Mm-hmm.
The owners are there.
Well, yeah, I mean, local ownership in pretty much any sport is good because they've got skin in the game, and that's always a good thing. So there you go. With regard to your visit over there, Sean, when you go around, do you see other sports being represented? I'm talking about sports from the United States. And you see NBA guys, jackets or shirts. Or, I mean, is there an appetite over there for U.S. sports?
No, the NFL is big, and the NBA. I mean, there's some fans here. They wear some jackets and jerseys and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball's not as big because it's rounders. They have cricket here, and it's just I don't think it's just not gonna. I just don't think baseball is gonna pick up ever there because it's slow and they have cricket. So if they're gonna do that, they'll just watch cricket. They love the golf.
I would assume, and this is just an assumption, that they also like quite a bit. They're big fans of basketball.
Yeah, I think they like it. I'm trying to get some of these guys into the tournament coming up, the NCAA tournament, obviously.
Right.
I think I think they'd kind of like that. So,
I mean, I've seen many Europeans prefer the college game than the NBA.
Yeah, the problem is, the I mean, it's not you can't watch these guys can't watch the West Coast games at all because it's on at 3:30 in the morning. I mean, the NBA at least, sometimes, they got the day games, and obviously it's the same thing on Saturday with NCAA, but I just think it's a lot of people here don't have time to like get into, they're already watching football and they're already invested in, their team here. And they're, probably, a little bit invested in the NFL now because it's getting bigger. And then then they're like, man, I can't be watching baseball. And I see it like, look, I mean, I used to be this huge fan of all this stuff. I don't have time to watch. I mean, these guys watch, there's people at home, I mean, that watch it, they go to all these Rutgers games and they watch like NFL and NBA. Like, I just don't have time. Like, I'm just and I'm also, I'm covering a game. So like the last thing I want to do is ever go.
Right. Let's go watch it again.
Yeah. By the time I'm done writing, like the last thing I want to do is watch an NBA game, to be honest. I mean, I like the playoffs, once the playoffs come in the summer and it's different, like whatever, but like, I understand because it's an investment for these guys to, football is on the weekends for the most part, Sundays during the day. So it's 6:00 here. So it's not like, 6:00 or 9:00. Like even if you go to sleep at 12 and you have to work at 9, you can still get a decent night's sleep. Like, these other sports, I mean, you're up to the middle. I mean, like, I know you're kind of a late owl. Like, I mean, these, like, you're up if you're a Bulls fan. I mean, like, you're living over here. These games don't start till 1 a.m. and it's just like, I mean, it just look. I've been out. Like, I don't even stay out. Like, I've been up here, writing and stuff because the games at home are same thing at that time. So like, I've been up till whatever writing, and it's just like. It's like kicking my butt. Like I'm just tired, so, and once again, like you hear multiple people talk about it, you're like, listen, man, I don't even I can't, I'm so busy trying to survive that like, it's just weird that like, I can't even watch Manchester United. Yeah, Bill, no, I don't know. I just heard some stuff about it. I don't know if you guys watched it or, I don't know. The format. I like all-star games to me, Bill, the flag football Pro Bowl, the NHL thing is an absolute joke. The NBA thing is a joke to me. I mean, the baseball all-star game, it's just like I just can't be. It kind of go like I can't be bothered watching like regular games, let alone like scrimmages. It's just they've turned it into like a farce. Doesn't mean anything. Like nobody cares if they win. That guy that I don't even know who the guy I don't even know who the guy is that won the dunk contest. Like I know
most of the people in Philadelphia don't know. He signed
McFlung.
He signed a contract from the G League to play.
Yeah, I don't even know who. Like it's just stupid. Like once they stopped letting Michael Jordan and Vince Carter go in like
well, they didn't stop. It was Jordan's choice not to get involved.
Yeah, because it's just like, it's just like, it's kind of like he should win like every time and you don't get anything for it or whatever. It's just.
My favorite of that, the skills type competition, was the year that Larry Bird won it the first time. When he walked out and said to the entire group of combatants he was going to face, which one of you is going to be second? He didn't even take off his warm-up. He shot with his warm-up on. And you're just sitting there, and he didn't miss. I mean, he's just like, come on, this is ridiculous. But yeah, I felt great for the kid who won, the Philly kid, because it was a bit of a joke that Philly was playing on him and said, look, you won the slam dunk contest in the G League. What do you think's going to happen? And he said, I'd be happy to try. And he was up on it. Was up on a 10-day contract. So, at the end of the day, he probably won more money with that, with the prize that he won from the NBA than he got for his first 2 weeks of, playing in the NBA. But yeah, the gimmicks are a little sick now. You can't. I mean, you can only take so much. And hockey's the same way. They're skipping. They were in Vegas. Was it Vegas? Yeah, they were in Vegas last year at the All-Star break, and they were skipping pucks across the water. Who could hit a slap shot hard enough to skip a puck across water? Okay, I understand that a billion Chinese will wake up tomorrow and never know this was done, but still, can't you just give them two? Was Amedeus, was it your thought, or Sean, your thought? Just give them 2 weeks off, or give them a week off. Let them just relax. That's your All-Star break.
Yeah, I had a whole rant about how we should just get rid of the All-Star break in every single sport. It's a joke. It's meaningless. It's honestly, it's a break in momentum. All it does is hurt teams, if anything. I don't like it. I didn't watch the NBA All-Star game. I know the score was something like 184 to like 170 something. It was a joke. And the two captains, Giannis and LeBron, both left with hand injuries like halfway through the game. So the All-Star games are a joke in general. Don't even get me started on the NBA All-Star game, because the NBA is a bad product in general. So yeah, and then you're wondering why. So over in England, Sean says they're never going to get into baseball because it's too slow, and they have cricket for that. Okay. So are they going to get into NBA? Well, you say they like college a little bit better. Yeah, because college basketball is a better product than the NBA. Right. Like, I don't know how else to put it. The NBA is a bad product. You don't need to watch games till the fourth quarter. It's an actual joke, the kind of the fact that they don't play any defense. And even when we get to the playoffs, there's still teams that don't play defense. So obviously it's the ones that do play defense that end up going to the finals. But still, it's a joke. Not wasting my time watching NBA.
Yeah. And then you get people, look, I have great respect for LeBron James. Absolutely 100% respect for him as a talent. But he's a ring chaser. And, Michael Jordan was a ring chaser. Or neither was Larry Bird or Magic Johnson. When they're bad teams, they played through the time. Reggie Miller, God love him. I mean, he never got to the finals. But he never left Indiana either. So, I'm not so sure that I'm too keen on these guys who jump from one team to another with the whole concept of, I want to get a ring. So, and that happens in soccer as well, right?
Yep. They bounce around.
So what about Porto? Is that a win tomorrow?
No, that's today.
Hey, sorry.
I think Inter probably wins.
Yeah, I think Inter is a much better team. They're the second best team in Italy right now. They're not catching Napoli, that's for sure. But I think they're good enough to go far in this competition. They have a good defense, so they don't give up a lot of goals. But they can score when they're at home. They can score. And I know you like the under, Sean, but I'm back and forth. I was looking at the under on this one because of the fact that, Porto's been in great form too. And both obviously have great defenses. They're not giving up many goals. So it very well could be a low scoring game, but I'm kind of leaning to the over in this one just because I think with Inter Milan being the better team here and at home in the first leg, I feel like they'll want to try and build up a lead going into the second leg. So if they get chances to score here, I could see them scoring 2-3 goals and maybe even Porto getting one if the game opens up like that. But yeah, I could see Inter really just pushing for that lead so they don't have to do much in the second leg away from home.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I think it's, of the two games, look, this City game is going to be, it's going to be terrible to watch, to be honest. I mean, like every City game is so boring.
And that's the one they show on TV, Sean, up here. That's the one that CBS is gonna be broadcasting. It's always the Premier League team.
Yeah, it's here because it's in Manchester.
They showed the Chelsea one when I wanted to watch Benfica. I had to put it up on my phone on DAZN. Yesterday I wanted to watch the Napoli one, and they were showing the Real Madrid Liverpool, so I had to put up Napoli on my phone again. And again today, I'm gonna have Inter Milan on my phone.
Well, we talked about this the other day, that the networks are always going to pick the sexy game, whether it's a good game or not. It's all brand names for them. They don't care. whether the goal is a one score deal or whatever. They're just happy to just to see the big names on there. When they go to justify how much money they pay for the rights, they go, well, look, we gave you 7 games with Manchester United and 4 games with Inter Milan and all the big name teams. But at the end of the day, they may not be the best team.
Yeah. Like on the surface, obviously, Real Madrid and Liverpool is the sexy match. But me and Sean knew how that one was going to go yesterday, and it was just an absolute embarrassment. Like, God. Yep. And you want to call Liverpool your sexy team, CBS? Like, honestly, just throw them in the trash. Such a bad team. And they were at Anfield too. I can only imagine what's going to happen in 2 weeks in Spain there.
I wonder how many guys, programmers from NBC and CBS have attended games over there. Sometimes programming people put stuff up and you're like, I don't understand. Why are we doing this? But, it is what it is. And not necessarily is that a good thing. Just got a thing, Amedeus. Sean, we were talking baseball the other day. One of the new rules besides the pitch clock, which is going to be entertaining, is the bases are bigger. I mean, of all the things, right?
I saw that. They're like pizza boxes now.
Yeah, they look like little Caesars with laying on second base. They're big and they're pillowy too. It's like, it's like somebody from mypillow.com got in touch with them and said, "Oh, we got bases for you. Let us show you how to put them down."
They've been hitting up Dak Prescott at the mattress commercial.
Right.
Get us a deal on some pillows for the bases.
Or Mattress Mac. Either way.
Hey, our Astros made you so much money last year. Now give us some bases.
Right.
Give us some pillow bases. It's the least you owe us.
Right. And that you always do the least you possibly can. So, it's kind of a weird situation to say the least. The pitch clock, I was reading where they were talking about base stealers are upset about the pitch clock. Now, why would you be? If you're going to steal, what's taking the pitcher less time to get rid of the ball is going to keep you from getting picked off?
I guess because it's like a chess match with no pitching. It's like you're in each other's head. Is he gonna go? Is he gonna throw? Is it me? When you add the pitch clock to the base runner, it's like, okay, well now there's a set time where I know this guy's gonna throw the ball by. So that's probably what it is. I had to guess, but I mean, we're tired of the chess matches. We don't need 5-hour games.
Well, that goes back to Sean's point that people over there, which ironically I think you were talking about with cricket. That's right. It's too slow. I mean, you stop for lunch at cricket. Cricket games can last 2 or 3 days. So,
yeah, it's weird. It's a faster paced game, but it's definitely longer in duration.
However, I must say that any sport that has a lunchtime takeoff is okay with me. That's a legit reason for it.
Yeah, and not just the kind of lunchtime where it's like go get your orange slices, use the bathroom, and coach says let's go.
Box. Yeah, all that fun stuff. But it's coming soon. Spring training is here. We don't bet on spring training,
and no shift this year. So keep that.
No shift, yeah.
No shift. They got rid of that, I guess.
Yes.
It's like I heard somebody said to me, "You think that the not having a shift anymore will, change baseball?" I said, "What, you mean change it back to when they didn't do this?"
Yeah, so, basically.
Like, that's crazy. All right, fine. Clearly you're not up on your sports, but that's all right.
But that's what they do. Like they bring in a rule and they test it out for 3 years and then they get rid of it. And then it's been so long at the rules, everyone's like, oh my God, what's the game going to be like again? And it's like, well, it was in trial period for 3-4 years. This was never a set thing that was just getting baked into the game.
Right. The one thing, and you mentioned it, guys, that drives me nuts is the quote unquote unwritten rules of baseball. Well, first of all, you can't have rules if they're not written down. So I don't get that. And so a guy hits a home run, stands there for a minute, watches it leave the park, and he's the bad guy. Meanwhile, a relief pitcher strikes out, a guy with the bases loaded on a 3-2 count, and he's allowed to jump up and down and punch into the air. What the hell? The next time the guy gets up, he's going to plug by the.
Did you hear about the unwritten rule in NBA?
No.
You don't pass the ball with less than 10 on the shot clock. Apparently, it's a big no. Your teammates will get pissed if you pass the ball because it's like you're throwing them in a last minute situation. Apparently, that's an unwritten rule in the NBA. I read a whole article about it like 3 days ago on ESPN about how
it's written now.
In the last 10 seconds of the shot clock, it's like if you pass me the ball, you just get a look from your teammate like, bruh, what the hell are you doing? All right. You take the shot if we're in 10 seconds. So there you go. It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's definitely a thing. So, oh man, my mouth got a little dry. We're going to talk a little bit about baseball on Friday, but it's definitely here. And, it's like no kids want to play Little League anymore, which is kind of strange to me. So it is what it is. But let's see, what do we got? Anything else today, guys? Any more questions? Anything going on? I don't hear anything, so I'm assuming that we're good.
Yeah, not a lot of action today.
All right.
Even in North America, the board is bad.
When Sean returns, the first week of March, we're going to start doing the show at 2. So those of you who are watching us, who want to find us, it's always good to subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and share. So if you could do that for us, that'd be great. And in March, we're going to move on up to 2 p.m., which should be fun because we'll have some information. Plus, we'll actually be in the middle of some of the games that are taking place. So we can do a little, update commentary routine. So very cool. All right. Well, for Sean, for Amedeus, and myself, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. 9 a.m. Eastern time.